Darren, you've been in charge just over a week or so now. I mean, first of all, just coming into Bath City Football Club, what really appealed to you about the club?
I think you can feel it's a people's club. I've been to probably 4 or 5 games, so you get a sense of what it's like at 𝘾𝙤𝙡, the arena itself. The support has been very, very supportive throughout the period of waiting for a new manager announcement. And it's a fantastic club that I've played against years and years ago, that can really grow.
What were you doing before, like say for the start of the season? I know you were at Fleetwood as well last year. You've been at Plymouth. Can you tell us sort of how your journey has gone to get to Bath City? Brief story.
Well, I started my coaching journey when I was 28. I was forced to retire through a road traffic accident, and I started that journey with Yeovil. Well, we went on an incredible run in terms of me as a coach, getting to the championship with Gary Johnson as manager. It was a fantastic journey to go to Wembley and in the playoff final and get promoted. And that was a great experience for me in terms of what success looked like. Then unfortunately, in terms of the knock-on effect from the championship, was relegation from League One. And then we were bottom of League Two, and the club had asked me to be the manager. And it was a tough task to start with. Was a little bit like this, apart from Yeovil was bottom of the league. So we knew we had to go on a run of games to make sure we maintained our league status. And I enjoyed that, but it was tough. It was very challenging in terms of managing the finances and trying to decrease debt and increase growth, sell players, have cup runs, and you know, a lot of younger players were coming into the group, which was hard to manage. And success for us as staff and, you know, board at the time was staying in the Football League. So I'm pleased to say, you know, I carried that out. Unfortunately, I got the sack with 7 games to go, but they weren't in the relegation zone when I left. And then, unfortunately, they got relegated out of 2 leagues. And then I signed for Plymouth Argyle Football Club, and was quite lucky in terms of watching their journey get to the championship. But I was under 18s lead coach, PDP, so managing the 16s to the 18s and helping them transition into the first team. And I really enjoyed that. There was a huge amount of workload, real good detail in terms of player development, individual player development plans, and I enjoyed it. And then Lee Johnson came along and offered me the opportunity to be assistant manager at Fleetwood Town, and I felt, working for a manager who'd done 500 games in the championship, he was like successful at his previous clubs, it was too good of an opportunity to turn down, because I didn't think he may not ask me again. And then we joined Fleetwood. Unfortunately, it only lasted 100 days. Again, the same as the Yeovil situation. I don't have any sleepless nights because they got relegated anyway, even with the forced change. And then it was making sure I kept myself busy, getting out there, studying, going to different clubs, meeting different people from different backgrounds, and using that time really to reflect on my whole career. And then this opportunity came available at Bath, and I worked extremely hard to stand the opportunity, to know when, if I got in front of the board, that I was ready to deliver.
And you've explained there that you've been involved in an EFL club, you've been assistant in an EFL club, you've worked with under 18s, now it's a part-time club. Do you have to change yourself as a coach, as a person, from the different position that you're in?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. What I'm working with is, people say part-time club, but I've got players that with professional mentality. And that's one thing that I've picked up on straight away with this group. You know, we talk about standards, we talk about, you know, dressing rooms, driving standards. I walk into a lot of football clubs that have got these words all over the walls in terms of passion, commitment. But unless you drive them, and what I've seen is a group of players that drive standards, and you know, that's really pleasing to see.
Lee Kendall was your assistant. We only found out just before this interview you knew him before. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Ken's travelled up with him to Norwich a few times, and you know, so I knew of Ken's. He comes from like a real good background in terms of his CV, his profile. He's a pro licensed coach. I think or certainly myself, are extremely lucky to have someone like him to support me. I think he prepared the team really well, that I inherited. And I've really enjoyed, you know, being on the training ground with him, and it's nice for me to share that relationship and use all my experience and his experience where he's been, and he's actually been to Fleetwood as well. So we've got a lot of good things. We've got a lot of same connections. So we know, you know, the way each other works, and yeah, it's been a really good start.
So you knew Lee Kendall. What about the team that you did inherit? Were you aware of any of those before maybe the 5 or 6 games you started coming to?
Well, I knew Ollie Tomlinson because I worked with Ollie for 3 years at Plymouth, and so I knew him. I knew Alex Fisher because I had Alex Fisher at Yeovil. Apart from that, it was just making sure I had eyes on games. So I did come and watch 4 games. You know, I studied the team, which I think has allowed me to just come in as if it was like natural and get off to like a real fast start, and understanding, you know, from a personality point of view, what I'm dealing with.
Said about getting off to a fast start. You're the first Bath City manager to win his first 2 league games since John Relish in 2005. So it feels like you've really got the fans on side immediately, and performances have been there as well. So the way it's begun, you can't be more pleased, really, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm pleased because I think there's been a real relentlessness to not concede, and I think if you've got that talent at this level, individually and collectively, it's a really good strength to have. You know, teams finding it extremely hard to break us down. I think 1 or 2 signings have helped the squad. Certainly share the workload off the front line, and Brad Ash has contributed really well. I feel the supporters are seeing a team that has got grit. You know, they're very passionate, the players, and they've been very persistent in what I'm asking them to do. So yeah, it's been pleasing all round, on and off the pitch.
One phrase you've said a couple of times, that Bath City is a people's club. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, there's a lot of volunteers. So that tells me there's good people that are working at a football club for the amount of hours they work, not getting paid. That tells me you're dealing with like excellent people. I've never been at a football club where I've seen so many volunteers. I think I get a feel that everyone's joined up, which is nice, and joined up when I'm talking about the thinking and what they all want to achieve. And I felt it with the supporters. You know, one of the games I actually stood in with the supporters and wanted to get a real good feel of like what they were saying and how supportive they were. And I've just been like blown away by the togetherness. It's been excellent.
Yeah, suddenly we're almost as close to the playoffs as we were the relegation zone. I mean, what's your ambitions perhaps for the rest of this season?
I think my ambition is just I want consistent performances, and I want to play to win. And sometimes that will look different. The Chippenham game was different to today, and you have to be able to adapt. You have to play a style, and you have to play a brand of football that is winning football. And I'm not fussed on what that looks like. That's up for me to, in terms of eventually, of course, we want to dominate the ball more. But, you know, there's been successful teams at this level that have had less possession than the opposition every week, but have won on a consistent basis, and that's been my job.
Well done for a brilliant start so far. Thank you so much for chatting to us, and welcome to Bath City Football Club
Brilliant.
again.
Thanks, Mark.